All right, welcome back. Another refactor video. Listen, if you don't want to, if you're not interested in watching these refactor videos and you want to skip ahead, just skip ahead to the first video that's not titled refactor, and make sure that you go to GitHub. Now, either start a new project or go to GitHub or switch branches. You can do it a number of ways. But I'm going to merge all the refactor into the master branch. And the latest refactor, I'll leave all the other branches up. I'm not going to delete the branches. So I'm going to make a 54 branch. And so you can just go to that branch or just go to master and pull the changes down. So you do a git fetch in the terminal. You just run git fetch like that, and that'll pull down all the files. As long as you're on master C, you can do git checkout. If you wanted to go back to 53, but in this case I can't because I've already merged in to master. So what I could do is, in this stage, now that I'm making a new video, I will just make another 54 refactor now. This being the 54th video. But just make sure you pull down the latest branch after refactor. I'm sure if you got this far, you can figure that part out. Let me show you another piece of the refactor that I did. I'm going through everything. Like I said in the other video, I've isolated the theme. I've got it in its own file over here in styles, and I'm just addressing the parts that I want as I want them. So primary color, main, secondary color, main, background color, and you can find all this information over on their site. Under default theme customization, and this shows you the different things. You can overwrite anything you want, and you can also overwrite the functionality of different components. So I can override the button, I can override the icon button to make I wanted to get rid of the shadow when you hovered over a button. So now in the site, when you hover over these buttons, you don't get that shadow in the background, which is cool. I shrunk down these icons. I got these zeros in here. I'm just going through every single thing. One thing I did work on a lot was this I was showing at the end of the last video. I totally revamped this to make it look like the real thing, and it's pretty close. This is our embed that we made, so we still have our embed. Our buttons look like the buttons, and they copied to the clipboard and stuff like that. Our time, you can put a time in and get that query parameter still. But what I did for that was the embed and the share modal. Just to show you what I do when I go through, I left some of the original code in there. I just revamped everything. I moved the dialog action buttons. I moved those up. I created the new. I created a new div for that embed with a code icon in it right here. I made another. I made the little array with the different titles and made a flex row. Each one of these, I found the width of each one of these is 64 by 64. They come as squares, but I wanted to make them circular, so I put a radius on and did overflow hidden. This is a cool little thing here. You see this overflow hidden I put on. I'll show you what it looks like without it. But basically, the best bet is to just clone after all these refactors. And we're not really doing a ton of crazy cool functionality stuff. Like I said, I'm mostly fixing the bugs, making everything work again, upgrading key packages, making sure everything's backward compatible. And just tidying every single thing up. I changed some of the commands around because I deployed to Heroku. I was trying to work on the Google or the Firebase cloud messaging, and I'm still working on getting that working again. I added a loading component, so whenever one of our GraphQL queries is loading, you can see there's a circular. I've added an auto. If there's a token, it automatically logs in a user now, so you don't have to log in every single time. And I still have yet to revamp this page, but it doesn't look too bad. You see that? You saw it for a second there. And see they're square, but if you implement that overflow hidden, they're going to go back to being circles. And the cool part about the theme is you can access it now that I'm using styles with the function of theme. And that's, again, the with styles higher order component that comes with Material UI. So that's pretty cool. So we're making things a little sharper. Definitely making things a little sharper. I made it so if it's your own video, you can't like or dislike it. It's not going to do anything. And that started by I did make a new mutation called authenticate, and it's going to look for the token in local storage and then run it through our backend, verify it. If it's verified, we're going to get a response back. And I broke out the logic for the snack bar. This is another thing I want to refactor is I want to use the snack bar a lot more. So I refactored a snack bar out into its own file. It's going to take an open and on close and a message prop. It's pretty simple stuff, but that way I can use this component over and over again and not have to write it out every time. It's a long process. This is going to be I'm going to guess this is going to be taking me quite a few days to figure all this stuff out. We can take a look at that authenticate. This is what I also want to do this for all the resolvers too. I want to put them in try catch. We're not really handling errors on a lot of our queries, and we want to. So authenticate is going to go in a try catch block, and basically if we catch, instead of just sending back a user, we're going to send back the user, which can be null, as part of a success with a message, so we can set those snack bars. Basically, when we get the thing back, we can set the snack bar, and we already have a message for that snack bar. So we set up a pretty cool system, and we're just going to keep plugging away until this thing looks really good. And I'll see you in the next video.